Hi, I'm Dave, the Cubby Dude. These are books. The complete title of this book is Chicago Cubs Cookbook, All-Star Recipes from Your Favorite Players. It is edited by Carrie Muscat and it was published in 2010. First, let me say that the proceeds from the sales of this book benefit the Dempster Family Foundation, and that's a good thing. Secondly, I cannot tell a lie. I have not, as yet, tried to make any of these recipes, but I intend to. Thirdly, I enjoyed reading this book. It's easy for us to get too caught up in the wins versus losses, analyses of various statistics, etc. We sometimes forget that these are real people with real lives. Chicago Cubs Cookbook reminds us that the Cubs are real people who eat real food and who sometimes cook too. It was a nice change of pace. Here are some specific observations. The first direction, listed under How to Build the Perfect Chicago Dog, reads as follows. Boil the hot dogs at 145-degree water per package instructions. I thought water boiled at 212 degrees Fahrenheit. The discussion about Randy Wells' hot wing dip includes the following statement. The way Randy sees it, most people eat chicken wings and have dip at their football parties. This way, he says, it combines both. I cannot argue with that logic. The Cubs Clubhouse recipe from yogurt mashed potatoes comes from Tom Otis Heilman, his brother Tim, and Gary Starr, who run the Cubs Clubhouse. The ingredients include 4 potatoes, 4 tablespoons plain low-fat Greek yogurt, and a half-cup low-sodium chicken broth. Those are my kind of ingredients. The discussion leading up to John Graybaugh's loaded mashed potatoes contains the following quote. It's pretty easy to make, Graybaugh said, and then cautions, it's not very good for you. I'm all in favor of comfort food, which is easy to make. 2 recipes which especially grabbed my attention were provided by Jim Hendry's friend, Vicky Corville. They are crawfish etouffee, and etouffee literally means suffocated or smothered, and chicken and sausage gumbo. Now, I like crawdads, and I make gumbo, or is it jambalaya, with chicken and sausage and shrimp. So these 2 are right up my alley. The build-your-own steak tacos from Hub 51 with marinade, tomato salsa, and guacamole directions are very good-looking. Brett Jackson... Let me try that part again. Brett Jackson contributed a gluten-free buffalo meat and spaghetti squash, which looks interesting. I have dabbled in gluten-free eating. This recipe has potential, and Brett says you can be creative with your protein base. Theodore Roosevelt Lilly III contributed a simple recipe for a great breakfast dish, which he calls egg in the hole. You gotta love it. Fergie Jenkins' wife, Lydia, finally decided to try cooking wild game, some of Fergie's pheasants, in a manner that she thought would make them taste tolerable. Fergie gave her the recipe, titled Fergie's Bagged Pheasant, and it turned out great. I'm a big believer in cooking bags. Ted Lilly also presents a chili recipe from Stanley's Kitchen and Tap. The recipe for Stanley's King of Chilies looks delicious, but I'm afraid I don't have all of the many ingredients in my kitchen. I'll have to visit Stanley's on Lincoln Avenue and let them do the preparation for me. Lou Piniella, you remember him, presents Anita Pinella's layered chicken salad and says, if we're winning, I go out a little more. If not, I tend to stay in. The ingredients for Anita's salad look tasty. I think this one is Dave-proof and doable. Mike Quaddy says, once I get home for the winter, my time is consumed by 2 of my other passions, fishing and cooking. My home along the Florida Gulf Coast affords me with some of the best shallow saltwater fishing in the country, and the only thing better than the challenge of catching these fish is the fun of preparing them. Q likes to serve his pecan-crusted snook with Cajun cream sauce, with roasted potatoes, sweet corn relish, and blue cheese and pear salad. I got to try this one. Ryan Sandberg's wife, Margaret, contributed a recipe for chicken tacos, which looks delicious. Ryan also presented a recipe for Harry Carey's rigatoni with vodka sauce, and there's a winning trifecta right there. Ryan Terrio presents a jambalaya recipe called Chef John Folsey's Chicken and Sausage Jambalaya, which, as I mentioned before, is right up my alley. Alfonso Soriano and Carlos Marmol present a Dominican dish called mango from Sobieda's Minea's Tropical Taste restaurant near Humboldt Park, my old stomping grounds. It says here that mango is eaten for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and the only change is what you have on the side. I can live with that. Micah Hoffpower presented Grandma Ernestine Adams' blonde brownies. I don't usually get worked about I don't usually get worked up about brownies because I don't really care for most chocolate that much. But these blonde brownies don't contain chocolate. Sign me up. Len Casper presents his mom's Michigan Apple Crisp recipe, and Jeff Stevens presents a banana nut bread recipe courtesy of his girlfriend, Christina. Both of these desserts look extremely tasty. There are a lot of opportunities for good eating contained in the Chicago Cubs Cookbook. I have to say, I'm not a fan of the plastic binding system used on this book. Nevertheless, I did enjoy the human stories behind the recipes. They put some very human faces on the members of the Chicago Cubs, past and present. I recommend the Chicago Cubs Cookbook, all-star recipes from your favorite players, to anyone with an interest in cooking and or eating, as well as to anyone who follows the Chicago Cubs. It's for a good cause. Once again, the title of the book is Chicago Cubs Cookbook, all-star recipes from your favorite players, edited by Carrie Muscat, published in 2010, and proceeds benefit the Dempster Family Foundation. Here's that plastic binding system that I'm just not crazy about, but I enjoyed the book, and I recommend it. I'm Dave, Cubby Dude. These are books.